How's it going, everybody? So, continuing on in Daniel 7, we do eventually get to the Antichrist, and they prove to us, they show us who he is on the earth right now through this chapter, Daniel 7:21 through 7:25, which is the horn as the Antichrist, happens to match the five addresses of Trump Tower, 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue. It's literally five addresses. That's an easy Google search. If you key in 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue, Trump Tower, it comes right up. 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue, Trump Tower. And there it is. 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue, highlighted right there. Right there. That's Wikipedia, Trump Tower. And eventually, good Lord willing, when we get to Daniel 7:21 through 7:25, you will see. It begins with the horn, shall make war with the saints, and it ends at 7:25 that he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. That's, of course, after the abomination of desolation. Here it is also 7:21 through 7:25 Fifth Avenue. So they want you to know. They want you to know. They want you to know. They want you to know who he is. Because there's nothing anybody can do about it. It does not matter. We're all just here fulfilling the will of the Lord. And the sheep are lambs to the slaughter. The sheep know this. We all wait for our appointed time. Anyway, a fiery stream issued and came forth from behind him. Remember, in the gold or the yellow at the top there, that is God winning. So this Daniel 7 goes back and forth with God winning to the Antichrist and his destruction um, to the church. That's the job of the Antichrist, to cleanse the bride. That's why Trump said somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. He repeated it twice, referred to himself as the chosen one, that somebody had to do it. And so there it is. That's another easy Google search. Donald Trump, I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. And there it is right there. President Trump, I am the chosen one. And after that, he said somebody had to do it. And yeah, it's interesting that somebody had to do it doesn't show up down here, but that's what he said right afterward. It just simply says, I am the chosen one. And let's continue, please. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000s stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. So the fiery stream is when the goats are devoured. And that's Revelation 20, verse 9. Humans do not get eternal torment, only the fallen angels do. And so that's, like we said in yesterday's study, the mark of the beast is total human body possession. Only those that take the mark receive eternal torment day and night forever and ever, because it's the fallen angels, like I told you, that inhabit the body, as the human host will die off. And Satan, the beast, and the false prophet is also said to have eternal torment day and night forever and ever. They do not get death. They do not get the grave, which is hell. Hell means the grave. Hellfire means grave fire, because the grave and death are thrown into the lake of fire. But all the humans are already dead when they're thrown in there. It's just a cleansing ritual process. So 1,000 times 10,000 set before him, the judgment was set, and the books were open. And of course, later on in Revelation 20, the books are open, and the dead are judged, and they're referred to as dead. Satan, the beast, and the false prophet don't get death or hell. They go straight to the lake of fire. And it clearly states eternal torment day and night forever and ever. I beheld then, because the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. The removal of the church. And there was given him dominion and glory and kingdom, and all the people and nations and languages should serve him. This is that 1,000-year millennial reign. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, and shall not pass away, in his kingdom, which shall not be destroyed. And that, of course, is also the new heaven, the new earth. I, Daniel, was grieved in the spirit. Now, why is he grieved? Because God's winning? No, what he's grieved about is, like I told you, his vision is God winning, but it's also the destruction that the Antichrist brings forth, and that troubles him. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit, in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. Let's move over to our John study. John 12. And Jesus, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon, as it was written, Fear not, daughter of Sion, behold, the king cometh, sitting on an ass's colt. These things understood not his disciples at first. But when Jesus was glorified, then remembered they these things that were written of him, and that they had done these things unto him. The people, therefore, that was with him, when he called Lazarus out of his grave and raised him from the dead, bear record. For this cause, people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle. The Pharisees, therefore, said among themselves, Perceive ye how ye prevail nothing? Behold, the world has gone after him. And there were certain Greeks. Remember, this is the world, for God so loved the world. It doesn't mean every person on earth has gone after Jesus. Most crucified and destroyed him or killed him, put him in the grave. Of course, he rose on the third day. John 3:16 is for God so loved cosmos in the Greek. And the first definition is orderly arrangement, which represents the sheep. Orderly arrangement, constitution, order, kingdom. It's the first Bible usage is constitution, kingdom, order. Um, it's God's order of things about, because this Bible, from the very beginning to the very end, is nothing more and nothing less than a love story about a bridegroom and his bride. That's all it is. And so, as the bride gets cleansed at the end and her robe's made white, that's what it's all about. And that's twice said in Daniel 11:35 and Daniel 12:10. And let me see here. Wife G 11:35. Strong's Concordance has wife as 11:35. And coincidentally, the Lord's math, Daniel 11:35 talks about the bride and the robes being made white. Daniel 11:35, King James Version, Bible Gateway. And some of them of understanding, sheep, the sheep have understanding through the Holy Spirit, shall fall to try them and to purge and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for the time appointed. So it's to purge them of their sins and to make them white. You come over to Daniel 12:10, which is the date my son passed, December 10th, last year of 2024. Many shall be purified and made white. Made white. Talking about the sheep. And tried. Then it talks about the goats. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. Semicolon. But the wise shall understand, as they are being purged, purified, and made white. That's all this book is about from the very beginning to the very end. It is a love story. We're all living in the Lord's movie. Trump referred to the Bible as a movie. He goes, I hate to say it like this, but the sovereign God is the writer, director, producer of this thing called Earth Life. And he even starred in cameo appearances as playing God of the Old Testament, reacting to the Jews. But remember, the Word was before anything was. So the script was before, in other words, before the movie is shot and lived out, the movie script is already written. That's why Jesus said, don't you know I got to follow the scriptures? Don't you know I got to do what it says in the Word? The Word was before the earth was even made. Jesus is the Word. And he's also God in the flesh, playing the New Testament cameo appearance of God in the flesh. It's God of the Old Testament, God in his cameo appearance. But the sovereign God ordained it all, Isaiah 46:10, declaring the end from the beginning. Revelation's already written. There's going to be an Antichrist. Declaring the end from the beginning, from ancient times to the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, I will do my pleasure. This life is the Lord's pleasure. Man has no free will. That's a satanic doctrine. There is a Bible verse that says, even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. They're all numbered. It doesn't say God knows the amount of hairs on your head. Demons know that. No, it says God has numbered them. There is nothing that's ever happened in anybody's life that the Lord did not ordain would happen before the earth was even made. Once you understand that, you know the entire Bible. It will all make sense. It puts it all together for you. The Pharisees, which again was the religion that Jesus came through, the Old Testament Jewish religion. Jesus hated them, and they had Jesus killed. In other words, the religion the Lord was born into and brought him through his bloodline clean. Was a false church at the time of Jesus. What do you think it will be like at the end times? Because the church that bears his name today and claims to love him gives you pagan Easter, pagan Christmas, and of course, I was talking to a former Satanist who is working at learning the Bible. And he said, we all know Christmas and Easter are pagan. So these churches today that bear his name give you birthdays, Christmas, Easter, and man's free will decisions. All of the satanic doctrine. As said in the Saturday study, the Church of Satan is created so you will think a church that bears the Lord's name is the good guy, when in fact it's the wolf in sheep's clothing, either spiritually. I'm not saying every human involved is doing so knowingly, but the spirit in them is of Satan. It is Antichrist religion. I personally would rather talk to a former pagan or pagan about the Word of God than I would somebody in a false church. They all just seem to be under that deeply demonic spirit. It's like they can't receive the truth, with the exception of possibly a few. Because that's what the end times is for. It's to call that lost sheep. And I tell people all the time, all the lost sheep are throughout the earth right now, and they're involved in every type of world religion, including atheism or paganism, Far Eastern, Middle Eastern, and those that falsely bear the Lord's name. And an equal percentage of each will be called all throughout the world at the end times. That's what the end times is for. It's to call the lost sheep to salvation and to cleanse the bride. And then there's God's wrath and judgment. And then the new heaven and the movie is over. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing. Behold, the world or the church or that orderly arrangement of the Lord has gone after him. And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. The same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we would see Jesus. Philip cometh and telleth Andrew, and again Andrew and Philip tell Jesus. And Jesus answered them, saying, the hour is come that the Son of Man should be glorified. And see, that's what we all do in our death when we are persecuted. It says we all through much tribulation enter the kingdom at Acts 14:22. My old phone number when I lived in Auburndale and Winter Haven. Interesting. We all through much tribulation enter the kingdom. The great tribulation is like I told you. It's to cleanse the bride. A pre-trib rapture is deeply satanic. It is a post-tribulation removal of the church. I'm glad you're all here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.